Hey y'all, Rick Sky here. Welcome back to another Timepieces for Tomorrow video. And obviously started out with a wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Tudor inverted panda, or the Tudor reverse panda, whatever you want to call it. But within this video, I want to talk about how the gray market is destroying, or for some has destroyed, Rolex. So how did the gray market destroy Rolex? So the gray market is not an authorized dealer. If you're buying a Rolex, typically you're going to a Rolex boutique or a Rolex AD, authorized dealer. And those are found in a lot of places, but the authorized dealer network has gotten to be a little bit smaller because there's not a lot of stock. And what's happening, and the reason that the gray market has destroyed, or you may say it's destroying, maybe it hasn't destroyed it yet, but what happens is that people will go into an authorized dealer or a Rolex boutique, they will find a wristwatch, preferably a stainless steel sports watch, and if they're not, if they're not a collector, they're probably going to walk out of there and they're probably going to put it on the gray market, and they're probably going to make a ton of money. It's a situation where people are looking at, even people that aren't interested in wristwatches, or maybe they are and they're interested in investing more than they are in the wristwatch. And in that scenario, people get lucky. They walk into an authorized dealer, they have something in stock, they buy it, and then immediately they put it for sale in the gray market for a lot more than it costs them to purchase it new. And then they can use those funds, if they get lucky again, and go even, for a higher tier Rolex, do the same thing with it, flip it. The gray market has created a haven for what you call Rolex Flippers. And, I admire people that have business sense and people that, want to buy low and sell high. And this is a prime example of that. And it's something that, and I'll go back around 2009 or so, it wasn't that prevalent. Because I remember in 2009 when I got a Breitling Super Avenger, at that point in time, the big wristwatch was kind of the craze. And I wanted something big because I had my only wristwatch at the time was an Omega Seamaster 300M Blue Wave dial. So the Super Avenger was significantly larger. But when I got that, I tried on Rolex Explorer at the authorized dealer. It was very affordable at that time. That was kind of the dog of the Rolex range. Now it's not anymore, but at that point in time it was super affordable. I tried on the Submariner. That was back before they had the solid N-links bracelet, so it was kind of jingly jangly. So to try those wristwatches on, they had pretty much every Rolex reference at that point in time in 2009. This was before everything in the gray market had really been fueled. So it was a situation where I went with the Breitling just because I liked it more at that point in time. But curiously enough, Rolex nowadays, you've got solid N-links, you've got use of ceramic bezels in most of their timepieces, the ones that use a bezel, like a diving bezel, like a Submariner or a GMT. Those are in the Daytonas, those are using ceramic bezels. So they've really gone up market in the quality, and part of that is driven by the fact that, they're trying to, it's crazy what's happening here. So, the dealers, the authorized dealers and the boutiques, they have next to no stock. Now they've got a lot of Tudors, and that's something we're going to talk about in a separate video, but they don't have a lot of Rolex wristwatches. And the reason is that, if you're, and not all the authorized dealers are doing this, but, some may be, for lack of a better word, selling out the back door. Why would you want to sell a timepiece for a small margin to a customer, to a collector, someone that actually wants a wristwatch, when potentially you could sell to someone else for a large markup? I mean, it's a frightening trend, and it's something that I don't think that we're ever going to really recover from. And especially back in the day, and I'm talking in the 2000s and prior to that, most people, if you were moderately successful, you could hustle and you could save up a small amount of cash and you could get you pretty much any Rolex you wanted. Now that's not the case. This gray market is pushing, not only is it pushing collectors out, because collectors to go into an authorized dealer or a boutique and find any Rolex watches at all is pretty much next to impossible nowadays. So if you've got a good relationship with the authorized dealer, you may be able to go in and get on the list. But at that point in time, you're potentially waiting 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the reference. And if you even get it at that point in time, because of annual increases, you're probably paying more retail. I remember in the past, you could go, and I have, you could go into a Rolex authorized dealer and you could negotiate a discount. And I've done that. That's no more. Well, the number one, they don't have any stock. And number two, they know they're not going to sell for a discount anymore. So it's completely changed. So, meanwhile, the gray market prices are just insanely marked up from MSRP. And, in the trend of Rolex, Rolex is always, not necessarily every year, but most years, they've performed an annual price increase, sometimes across the board, sometimes only specific references. But that's healthy for collectors because collectors, it's something you can buy, you can wear, you can enjoy, and it'll last several lifetimes. But it's also something that you've got a pretty good level of confidence that it's probably going to continue to appreciate in value. And I'm talking about appreciating in value just from the MSRP, because of the annual price increases, whether they're every year or every few years. Over time, that used wristwatch, if you had to sell it or you wanted to sell it, you could probably sell it for more used than you bought it new. So that was always a thing. But now with the gray market and there being next to no references in your authorized dealers or your boutiques, it's a situation where the prices on the gray market are insanely marked up. So again, it encourages people that are flippers to go in and try to get lucky, get a timepiece, turn around and sell it for potentially maybe double their money, maybe triple their money. It depends on the Rolex reference. So, it's a really, for collectors, it's destroyed it, because now if you're just someone wanting to buy a wristwatch, you go into an authorized dealer, they're probably not going to have anything. And it's not good. Now you can go with other brands. Omega, those are plentiful. Breitling, those are plentiful. Those are two comparable brands that make great wristwatches. But again, the thing with those, and most Omegas and most Breitlings, you can feel pretty good about your purchase because it'll probably go up in value. But it's not like a Rolex where it probably, there's a greater possibility that the Rolex will continue to go up in value. So there's that enhanced peace of mind if you're purchasing a Rolex versus a watch of a different brand. But again, for collectors now, it's a situation where you probably can't get the Rolex. Unless you're a VVVIP with an authorized dealer, you're probably not going to get it. And and that segues into Tudor, and we're going to talk about this in a lot of depth within other videos, but why I think this is going to be a great thing for Tudor and people that have been, become fascinated with Tudor in its infancy. And when I say infancy, I mean its rebirth, because Tudor historically I wasn't a fan of, but when Tudor put out the Black Bay, it kind of caught my eye. And then they put out the Black Bay 58 and the Tudor Chrono, and it's a completely different story. Rolex, obviously Hans Willdorf, they own both Tudor and Rolex, and it's just put the Tudor brand on a pedestal. And we're going to talk about that. I don't want to get too off topic within this video. We're going to talk about that within a separate video. But yes, the gray market has, some people will say it has already destroyed Rolex for collectors. Some people may say that it is destroying Rolex for collectors. Because the bottom line is, unless you're dealing with the precious metals pieces, if you're just buying stainless steel wristwatches, it's all about just a tool watch. You can wear anywhere, you can swim with it, you can bang it into walls, whatever you want to do. It's not something that you're paying way, way over MSRP, and I never pay over MSRP. I never pay MSRP, and that's why I'm no longer a Rolex collector. Unless the market changes, there's no way. Number one, I don't want to spend that kind of money. I'm a bargain shopper. So everything I buy, I'm getting a discount. If I can't get a discount, and a significant discount, I'm not a buyer. So yeah, it's destroyed. In my mind, the gray market has already destroyed Rolex for collectors. But again, you notice I'm saying for collectors, for wristwatch collectors. It has not destroyed it for the investors, the flippers, because they're making a killing. You know, they're going in, they're getting lucky, they're buying, and then they're selling for a huge markup. So, but you know, that potential investment potential, and again, this is not investment advice, I'm sharing this for entertainment purposes only, but that possibility of making a buck is what has just driven tons of people, again, the non-watch people, into these boutiques, into these authorized dealers, and they're snatching it all up so that the wristwatch collectors can't get it. And you know, there's some wristwatch collectors that are so hardcore, they're buying on the gray market. Again, I would never do that. I'm always wanting a discount. And I would never pay MSRP, but that's just me. Tell me what you think within the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. And if you're looking for cool timepieces for tomorrow's swag, like this sweatshirt that I'm wearing, I got a piece of fuzz on me. Hold on. And that was weird. Something like, got it. It was a hair. It was a hair. Yeah, but if you're looking for cool swag like this sweatshirt that I'm wearing, also I've got pint glasses, I've got coffee mugs, I've got t-shirts. Look down below and you can find all that. Also, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Check out all of my existing timepieces for tomorrow videos. At the time of filming this, I've got a ton of them. I got a ton more coming soon. Also, my live shows. Feel free to tune in for my timepieces for tomorrow live shows, and also watch the previously recorded timepieces for tomorrow live shows. You can just go to timepiecesfortomorrow.com. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.